Well, hello and welcome to Knucklehead Podcast, episode number 3. Today, we're going to talk about a couple things. But first, in particular, we're going to talk about forgiveness. Let me tell you something. Let me start off with I'm Steven. I am the Knucklehead. Nothing that I'm telling you, nothing that I'm sharing with you, I haven't done, or I haven't learned from somebody who's already been there, done that. There's no question that everybody's got a unique perspective, which is their own, and these experiences and these thoughts, really, quite frankly, what they are is they're an opportunity for you to bring down some of your walls, your preconceived notions about what it takes to be successful, or what it takes to go out there and take what's yours in today's world. I'm working on that right now. There's a boatload of people who are immensely more successful from a monetary standpoint than I am. But if that's your only true measuring stick, then there's only going to be a select few that actually get out there and then accomplish that goal. I heard it said a long time ago that success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream or goal. And there's a ton of books out there that'll back up that statement, stating that your internal success and the things that you want to accomplish for your lifetime are contingent upon, first of all, of you recognizing what your current set of circumstances are, and your perspective and the decisions that you've made up until this point. They forced your current set of circumstances. You are exactly where you are because of decisions that you've made. And I'm talking to myself right now. So I just want to let that be known. Listen, we're on Instagram at Official Knucklehead Podcast. We're also on Facebook at the Unofficial Knucklehead Podcast. We're also on SoundCloud. That's where you can download and listen to these awesome messages here. But today is Tuesday. That means it's going to be Throwdown Tuesday. Okay, I say it's Throwdown Tuesday, so that's exactly what it is. We're going to talk about forgiveness. So let me tell you something here. I'm not talking about forgiveness just like that old, anybody see that old Just Friends movie? If you haven't, at the end of this podcast, go Google a scene where Anna Faris starts talking about a song called Forgiveness. And she goes, "Forgiveness is more than saying sorry." And it's a terrible song. I challenge you to try to get it out of your head after you've listened to it. But I'm not talking about any of that frou-frou, fluffy forgiveness, and you just need to let everybody know it's okay. No, I'm not talking about that level of forgiveness. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. My background's Marine Corps. My background is playing college football. My background is having people that raised me leave before I was at a certain development, and so I had to do a lot of trial by error, if you know what I'm saying. So there was plenty of opportunity for me to give people the opportunity to forgive me for things that I did to them. And then also there was an opportunity for me to forgive myself for mistakes that I've made. Now listen, there's a bunch of us out there, whether you're a veteran, whether you're a former athlete, whether you're a failed business owner, whether you're a successful business owner, whether you're a sales leader, all of those share a common characteristic in that there's a greater goal than what you're currently at, right? And so it's going to take some action steps in order for you to get to that next level, right? And that next level, if you're not setting for yourself, then somebody else is setting for you, okay? Now, it's important for us to hover over this point here. If somebody else sets that goal for you and you had an adversarial relationship with authority or an authority figure in the past, it's going to be very difficult for you to hit that goal. It's going to be very difficult for you to take coaching, and it's going to be very difficult for you to get past what your current set of circumstances or your current mindset is about that problem, okay? Let me give you an example, all right? So this is an example of what I went through. Then I'm going to give you an example of what somebody else went through, and I'm going to parlay that with something that I did to that individual. And then also I'm going to give you an example of somebody who's overcome that and achieved a certain amount of success in their lifetime for goals that they've set. right? So it's important. Go back. Let's go back. We're not talking about frou-frou forgiveness, right? We're not talking about everything's okay and, these people just are, they've done wrong to me and I just need to forgive them. No, what I'm talking about is there's a boatload of stuff and crap that goes out there. There's stuff that's unforgivable if you do not recognize that you potentially were capable of doing such that wrong thing if you're not if you weren't in that person's current set of circumstances too. So you got to be cognizant of human nature, in the inherent goodness and the inherent evil that exists in our day-to-day life. I'll just put it to you that way. So there's some great people that you can listen to that talk at length about that, Jordan Peterson being one of them. So let's talk about this, being open, right? So there I was. All my Marines know this scenario. You're getting ready to go for a PT run and you're in boot camp. Your system has literally been shocked from a undisciplined civilian, whether you were disciplined or not. When you join the Marine Corps, it's a different level of discipline, okay? I'm not saying that the other branches of service don't have their own systematic approaches to discipline as well, because they're all phenomenal in terms of what they provide in terms of intangibles. But specifically the Marine Corps, they have a very systematic approach to decoupling you from your previous experience as a civilian, and then now your clean slate start as a Marine. And there I was. I was like third squad, maybe 7 or 8 Marines back. So I wasn't at the front, and I wasn't in first platoon. So I wasn't out there ready to get smoked by the drill instructors. But we were staged, which means that we were set up, ready to go on a run. We had our rifles with us, and I had to piss. Oh my God, I had to piss so bad. And you couldn't go use the restroom unless you were given permission. I mean, think about that for a second. So all you guys that are out there that know what I'm talking about, you understand the luxury that you're afforded whenever you decide, I think I'm going to go to the bathroom. You just go. Well, that's not how this was. And my short-term decision-making process up at that point in time was I got to go, but I can't go right here, right? Because if you go, then you're going to get it on everybody else. It was terrible. So what I did is I took off running out of the staged area because the drill instructors were meeting, and I ran around a squad bay and tried to get to a stopping point. And oh my gosh, I ran into a squad bay and a drill instructor caught me. So this is like first phase of boot camp, guys. So all my Marines out there that are just cringing listening to this, listen, we're going to get into some other stuff later, but this is like foundational. You're a freaking idiot, knucklehead. That's what I did. So I got my weapon taken away from me by another drill instructor. Obviously you have your name placard on, or you have your name on there, platoon, everything else. So he found the drill instructor. He gave it to the drill instructor. That was my first lesson in gear accountability. That was my first lesson in, you know what, you make mistakes, you admit them and you own them, and then you pay for them. And then you learn from them. Otherwise you will continue to pay for it over and over and over and over again. So obviously I got slayed when I got back to the squad bay, but even prior to that PT session was relentless. My drill instructors, my senior was there. It was not a good deal. So all my drill instructor buddies out there, if you have a recruit that does the same thing, slay them, get after them. So the reason I tell you that story is I finished boot camp platoon, as a squad leader. I finished MCT as a squad leader. I finished my MOS school as a guide. All that means is you're asked to participate in the leadership or an example for your platoon. I was honored to be able to serve with some incredible Marines. One of them in particular, great guy. He was a really young guy, and I loved his attitude because he was tenacious. He was loud. He wasn't scared of anything. He really inspired me quite a bit because he joined the Marine Corps before he was 18 years old. Um, what's cool about him is he actually went on after boot camp, and we spent some time over in Okinawa together, attached to the same unit. I had a knee surgery, and so I wasn't able to do everything that I wanted to do with him in particular. But from what I understand of him, he was just he didn't understand what fear was. He never let it stop him from making good decisions. He didn't, and the forgiveness component and how it ties into all of this here is you gotta let yourself go. You gotta let yourself off the hook. First of all, you got to recognize that what you did in that temporary set of circumstances was exactly that. It was only for temporary. It didn't define who you were. It didn't say, you know what, you made a stupid decision, so therefore you're a knucklehead, and therefore you're only going to make knucklehead decisions going forward, right? So therefore you can't accomplish anything great. That's a trail of thinking that you can't allow yourself to go down if you're ever going to if you're ever going to lead a family, if you're ever going to lead yourself, if you're ever going to lead a great organization. You got to start with the foundational truth and the foundational principle that you are going to make mistakes. Nobody knows how to do it perfect except for maybe one person. And there's a lot of thought processes about what that is. I know what I believe, right? So the thing that I admired about this one individual Marine, is he progressed through the ranks by earning his stripes. He progressed through the ranks by not letting something that would have stopped a lot of people in experience from making mistakes. He took a situation and went head on into it and spoke candidly and openly and honestly that he earned the trust of his leadership. He earned the trust of the people who wanted him to make good decisions. And that's why he's going to go down. I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect, but I'll tell you what, anybody who's willing to go out there and make a mistake and develop relationships and not let where they're from or their experience define the success that they're going to have going forward, that's honorable. So everybody who's out there, you know who Lance is, right? Lance was a stud, right? Did he do some stupid stuff? Yeah, we all did, but he was a stud. Anyway, care without candor creates dysfunctional relationships, right? So you can be as caring and well-intended with your information, but if you're not honest, you're not going to have any lasting relationships. And why does that matter? Why is that important? I think with all the crap that's going on in the world right now, there's a very self-focused thought process that goes through people's decision making. And this is the second story, and then I'm going to wrap up quick. Okay. Second story is I had a close mentor of mine. He was a great friend, and I was going through a really rough patch, like a rough patch out of the military, not able to provide for my family the way I wanted to, chasing something that I thought that I could accomplish because there was a lot of examples of people who've been there, done that. I couldn't really figure out what it was that I wasn't doing. And I was so focused on my current set of circumstances that I couldn't just look past them and change and communicate and just drop my walls of defensiveness. And I didn't know who to blame, and it was really my fault. This whole time, this guy, he had a young child who was going through some physical illness, and I mean, if you think about it from a parent's perspective, or if you're a Marine, one of your Marines that you care about is going through just that rough time. That's a physical ailment that you can't control, and you feel responsible for that, and that's where a lot of your mental energy, your physical energy goes to trying to solve that problem. And here I was, maybe, almost assigning blame to them for my current lot in life. And they were willing to communicate with me and give me advice and open up back and forth. And I wasn't responsible. I was a freaking knucklehead thinking about myself first. My wife hates it when I say it that way. So I love you, babe. But it's the emphasis is there, right? you can be so self-absorbed when you are being that way, so much so that you can't even empathize with another human being's capacity to deal with their current set of circumstances, and they care enough about you that they would invest in you, and they would give you time, and they would care about you. And that creates an opportunity for you to not forgive yourself, and for you to constantly focus on what your shortcomings are. My challenge to you, and this is the last thing, is until you go through those circumstances and you take the time to rewind and go back and really be honest and open with yourself. Like for me, I didn't know that Marine Corps Recruit Depot could be shut down if they missed a weapon. If there was no accountability for that weapon that I took into the head that somebody else took from me, the base commander who had invested years of his life, decades, could have been relieved of his command, or their command, if that weapon was unaccounted for. I didn't know that. That was my mistake. I had to own up to that. Lance, he very easily could have said, you know what, I'm 17 years old. I made some mistakes. That's why I'm or whatever. I'm joining the Marine Corps. I'm doing what I feel like I need to do, and I'm following this set of rules to try to get ahead. And there's a lot of shortcomings that come with inexperience, but he never let it stop him. He didn't allow that seed of doubt to grow into unforgiveness. He just looked past it and just blew past it with an energy and a fever like an energy it was infectious. It was awesome. I have a lot of respect for that young man. And then the last thing is understanding that once you examine that set of circumstances, and you're honest with yourself, and you're honest with somebody who knows you really well, and you can talk with them and say, hey, listen, I made a mistake and I'm sorry, or I made a mistake and I need you to forgive me, or you know what, I made a mistake and I understand if you can't forgive me, but I need to let you know that I apologize for the way that I was, and I appreciate an opportunity to kind of reset our relationship, and if you can have that open and honest, transparent conversation with somebody, rather than trying to be a tough guy, or the way that Lewis Howes talks about, like a stoic mask. Great book, by the way. You should check it out. Lewis Howes' Mask of Masculinity. You can deal with that and understand that you're always going to have that thought of I want to protect my ego. I want to protect this. I want to protect that thought. But it's really that thought that's hanging you up. It's that unforgiveness that's still in your heart. It's still that unforgiveness that's in your mind. Let yourself off the hook. Let today be the day that you start to grow that confidence, and you overcome that small decision making. You earn your self-respect back, and you start to grow that confidence a little bit more every day. And as you grow that confidence more and more every single day, those big goals, those big things, earning your wife's respect, earning enough for your family, starting a business, being a staple within your community, being somebody that leaders can lean on, and then you can lean on them, and then you start iron sharpeneth iron. You start growing together. That starts with you recognizing that it started with me recognizing that I was a knucklehead. Okay? I was a knucklehead. And I still make knucklehead decisions, but I don't let knucklehead decisions prevent me from accomplishing what I know I'm set to accomplish in life. So I challenge you to do the same thing. I love y'all. You're awesome. Congratulations to my incredibly beautiful, incredibly awesome wife for completing her figure competition for the first time this past weekend. She's awesome. She's kicking butt and taking names. And there's a boatload of other moms that are out there that are doing the same thing, that are setting goals for themselves and smoke checking us. So that's awesome. Keep it up, guys and gals. We will be back here, same bat time, same bat channel next week. SoundCloud, Knucklehead, Facebook unofficial Knucklehead, and Instagram, we are on there as well. So this is Steven signing out. Get after it today. Make it happen. See ya.